This is Reg Athwal, and welcome to another one of our episodes when we talk about millionaire mistakes. Not secrets, but mistakes. This is based on things that I've personally been through in my entrepreneurial career, as well as working with many other owners of many large businesses and have seen them also make mistakes. And one of the biggest mistakes out there is definitely around partnerships. I can tell you right now, in the last just over 20 years, I have personally lost around $20 million as a result of bad partnerships. Partnerships have an impact on a business, sabotage revenue. It's the end of the partnership, and there's no value at the end of that relationship. So there's many different reasons of how that's come about. But what I have done is I've managed to come up with about 12 key things in my mind that I want to share with you in this short video today, of things that you can avoid doing if you've got any type of partnership that you're in right now or partnership in mind in the future. Now, first of all, let's explore what type of partnerships are we talking about. Sometimes a partnership could be some friends coming together who've known each other for a long time, trust is there, they enjoy each other's company, everything's great, and then one day there's this great idea and they decide to shake hands, or not even shake hands, and say, let's do it. And these two friends end up building a business. In some cases, it really takes off and is super successful. Until then, they start having some problems and issues that they need to deal with. In other cases, it doesn't really go past startup stage. It's incubation. It doesn't really take off. And in other cases, it could become a 20, 30, 40, $50 million business, as in something that I witnessed in my 20s, to then have a situation where our equity value had pretty much vanished as a result of some really, really bad mistakes. So what are some of the things that you need to bear in mind? Sometimes partnerships could be people you don't know. They're not friends. You may have had 1, 2, 3 meetings with them. The synergy seems right. The chemistry seems right. And you decide that you're going to go for it. And then the true colors show up later on. I've also been with family businesses where we've mapped out all the partnerships that they have and then assessed which partnerships are working, which partnerships are not working. And it's shocking to see how many partnerships do not work out. So let's get cracking. Okay, number one, why do you need a partner? That's the first question I've got for you. Why do you need a partner? Is it important that you have a partner? Maybe you could take that particular work and have a freelancer, have a consultant, have a contractor. Maybe you could come up with a fee-based model with that prospective partner and pay them for their time and their input to your venture. So you first will have to qualify, why do you need a partner? Is it because both parties are bringing something very, very unique to the table? Is it because one person's going to be more of an investor and the other one's going to be more of the working partner and taking on board the CEO, general manager type role for the business? Is that why you're doing it? You've got to be clear, first of all, why do you need a partner? It's worth exploring all possibilities, worth exploring all avenues before you make the final decision to go, this is what we should do, and let's shake hands and do it. So why do you need a partner, number one? Number two, could you use a freelancer, a consultant, or a contractor? There's a philosophy out there right now, especially with EXO-based companies, exponential organizations that came out of the last recession, 2008, 2009, and have billion-dollar valuations today because they've had a philosophy of renting it out. So instead of controlling it and owning it, it has to be permanent, or in this case, a partnership that has to be permanent with agreement or equity. Maybe there's an opportunity purely to rent it out. Okay, there's 8 billion people on the planet. Out of those 8 billion, there's plenty of intelligent people you can have access to through social media, through things like LinkedIn, and reach people that you could maybe rent out and have some type of contract with to achieve that specific thing that you want during that phase of your business journey, whether it's incubation, startup, fast stage, growth, or you've reached maturity and trying to regenerate and take it to the next stage. The third thing would be, are two minds really better than one? I've had situations where two minds are not better than one. In fact, those two minds are really causing issues for each other right now. If you had one mind, the person could make a decision, get it done, move on. With sometimes two minds, it can take longer to make decisions. You can go round and round and round in circles, and that may not help what you're trying to achieve. So you've got to qualify, will two minds really be better than one mind, and give that some consideration. Number 5 is a massive one, really could be the foundation of everything when it comes to a successful partnership or a partnership that doesn't work out, which is, are your values aligned? Now, when I started off in business in my 20s, in fact, my first venture was when I was 17, and built my first venture to $1 million business. My second venture, we took it to almost a $20 million business. And most of this happened up to from the age of 17 up to the age of 30. Huge lessons. And at that time, I didn't know about values. I didn't have anyone saying to me, Reg, what are your values? Don't compromise on these values. Go and find someone else who has the same values. Sometimes we get lost in someone's charisma and we feel that we've got the chemistry and we like the person. We like having lunch and dinner with them. It seems like, wow, this is going to be perfect. But behind that skin, behind that mask, inside, we all have different values, different belief systems. So you've got to be clear on what that means. My version of trust could be different to your version of trust. My version of mutual respect could be different to your version of mutual respect. My version of ethics could be different to your version of ethics. I think that makes sense. Yeah, would you agree? Let me know in the comments as well. So what are your core values? Things that you value the most. You're not going to compromise on this. And if you're going to do business with someone, if they go out of these set of values, then there's going to be issues. So try align those values from day one. And once you know what they are, you can share it with someone. You're assessing, is there a fit? The next thing I'd want to go into is, after thinking about values, is be patient to assess someone in different environments. What do I mean by that? It's like dating, okay? If you're going to be dating someone, things are going well, maybe it's a bit of lust, it turns into eventually love, or it could be love at first sight, and you're dating and things are great. And then you decide to move in with each other, okay? Then you start seeing little things that maybe annoy you about each other. It could be down to, what end you use of the toothpaste, okay, where your toothbrush goes, all right? It could be small things, but these small things can blow up sometimes. So I would say be very, very clear, to date someone in a professional sense of a prospective partner, someone you're about to go in business with, and make sure you meet them in different environments. So if you get a chance, you're meeting them for lunch, for dinner, over a couple of drinks, maybe, if that's appropriate where you are in the world. It could be meeting each other's families, if that's appropriate and relevant at this stage. But you're seeing them in different environments, maybe even give them a bit of a challenge, a bit of a test, and just to see how they react. Because you need to see the true colors of this person. You need to see how they handle stress. You want to get an understanding of how will they deal with a crisis. So relevant for the year 2020. There's so many family businesses, partnerships where there are already conflicts going on because the business is not doing well, the money's not coming in like it used to, and now the true colors of some of the underlying issues are coming to the surface. So meet someone in different environments, try test out that relationship, and before you sign any documents or decide to shake hands, and move to the next stage. The next one I've got would be, let's say you've decided to now go in partnership with each other, be clear on your job roles. There's some people that have a job role which is what I call in the business. You decide if it's both of you or if there's multiple people coming into the partnership, who's going to be in the business. Maybe you've all come in on an equal basis from day one. You all jointly came up with the idea. There could be 5 of you, and you're all going to have your 20% stake in this particular business as a joint partnership and an equal partnership. That's fine. But out of those 5 people, who's going to do the work? And what type of work are they going to do? So be very clear on job roles and defining those job roles. What are the duties, responsibilities? What are the authority levels? What is the reporting line? base level decisions with only this person? Do we escalate where other types of decisions have to go to maybe 3 or 4 people in a committee? And it gets escalated again where maybe major decisions, monetary decisions, critical things that can have an impact to you with governance and legalities has to go to everybody. So you've got to define all this at the beginning and be very, very clear on what the roles are. Who's going to head up sales and marketing? Who's going to be the brand for the company? Not everybody can be the brand. And you can't have 2 people doing that because then there's going to be conflict and egos going to start clashing. So who's the face? Who's the brand? Who's going to be out there and highly visible? Who's going to be really rigorous when it comes to processes and systems and policies? Who's going to be the person who's going to keep churning out product development ideas and innovation? Who's going to be the person who's going to manage relationships with everybody? Who's going to be the person that focuses on being the glue for the culture of the organization with your employees and the workforce? Who's going to be ruthless with execution and make sure things get done and they can handle chaos and firefighting issues? Who's going to be great with the numbers? You've got to have someone who's brilliant with the numbers from day one, okay? So I've shared with you a few things in one of my other videos. I'm going to talk about DNA profiling. It's also in my book, Unleash Your Family Business DNA, with the model of the 9 profiles and the 72 different sequences of your DNA profile. So you've got to know the profile of this person, define the job, who's going to do what, who's going to be the CEO, big decision. Maybe you both decide you're going to hire a CEO in the future. So make those decisions early on. We'll do my 7th thing that I sort of want to leave you with in this episode today. Next would be clear on why you're doing this. What do I mean by that? When I say be clear on why you're doing this, we all start off with it's a buzz, it's fun, we want to be entrepreneurs, we want to start something, we're doing it out of adventure, curiosity, we're learning and growing. So there's many good valid reasons at the beginning, especially when you're a young entrepreneur. But as you mature and financially you're in a good place and you start thinking of the future, the main thing, and when we talk about why you're doing it, is purpose. You've got to be clear what your purpose is. What are you trying to achieve? And also, some people are in it for the short term. Some people are in it for the long term. Some people are in it for lifetime. So you've got to get clear with your partner or whoever you're going to partnership with, which is why are they doing it, number one, and what do they really want to achieve out of this? Some people plateau out after building $1 million, $5 million company and they get in a comfort zone. Got a nice, decent paycheck every month. It's looking after their family. They live in a nice house. They've got a couple of nice cars. They're going on some nice holidays. The business is giving them all of that. The business is professionalized with good people day to day. And that's it. They're done. They don't want any more in their life. While there's others who are driven and want to grow and want to move to the next stage. They want to build a $100 million company. Now, it's not because of the numbers. Numbers sometimes is just a measurement for success. But for them, it could be around status or significance. They genuinely want to build something and they want to reach millions of customers. It could be to do with their family reputation that's linked to it. It could be to prove to someone in the family that they're good enough. There's many, many things can come from this communication. So it's worthwhile understanding why. Okay, why are we doing this and what do we both want to achieve from this partnership in the future? And if someone's in it short term, that's okay. Just be clear at the beginning that this is a short-term objective for that individual and maybe there's an opportunity to buy them out, okay? That's fine. Other things to consider is what are the clear expectations, okay? Point number 9, what are the clear expectations for each other? We talked about defining the role and what each person's going to do, but there needs to be clear expectation and that links to accountability. So what is the expectations for me? What is the expectations from the other person? How frequently should we meet up? Okay, our expectation is we should be having daily communication, weekly communication, monthly communication. One of the partnerships I had in my early career as an entrepreneur was awesome at the beginning because we had daily communication, regular lunches, dinners, sitting around and talking about absolutely everything. But as the business started to grow and there were more and more people and both of our roles started to evolve and change, we became so busy we didn't have that daily catch-up, let alone even a weekly meeting. It was monthly if we were lucky. In some cases, it dragged on to quarterly. And when that starts happening with Partnerships, and I know of some family businesses that I've dealt with in the past where they're lucky if they meet up with that person twice a year to have a formal review of what's going on. So I'm talking about be clear on what the communication expectations are, the rhythm that you're looking for, the frequency of meeting up. Be clear on how you're going to drive accountability for each other. You've got to be upfront, okay, from day one, that it's okay to ask each other questions on what each party has brought to the table. You know, what have you achieved? What have you achieved? What contribution have you given to the business? This is what we agreed. Are we on track? Are you achieving these things? So it really links to performance management as well. We're talking expectations, accountability, we're talking performance management. Have these things in place to evaluate and assess each other on a regular basis. Just because you've got mutual respect, you know, some people don't get past that. They feel, oh, I can't ask my partner, my business partner, these type of questions. Well, if you don't, you're at risk of sabotaging your business. Your business may not grow in the future, and you don't really know what each person's really doing day to day and what contribution they're creating for the business. So that's all around point 9. Point 10, be clear, depending on the partnership that you have, of when it comes to splitting fees, revenue, or profit. So let's think of it. Maybe the partnership is not an equity partnership. It could be some type of license agreement, a franchise type agreement, a joint venture partnership where two brands are coming together or two individuals are coming together who both have their entities, but they've got this one document that brings them together, some sort of collaborative agreement. So partnerships will show up in different ways, but you want to be clear what is going to be the fee or revenue split. And does that include expenses and costs? Does that come off at the beginning or come off afterwards? You've got to be clear on these percentages to go into an agreement from day one, because trust me, I've seen partnerships get destroyed because there's gray areas that pop up and the values were also not aligned, and now one person feels they're stitching the other person up. Okay, they don't trust the person anymore. So discuss these things at the beginning so it's very, very clear, you know, especially if you're not equity stakeholders, of who's bringing in the business, how does it go into the pot, how does it get shared, who covers the expenses for A, B, and C, and just be clear on these things. And that also includes down to things like payment terms. Depending on the partnership, maybe one party is being paid and pays out the other. So also be aware of what those payment terms are going to be, and factor in the unknown. Factor in that things could change. So what happens if this happens? How could the agreement change? What if that happens? What if we have a crisis, an economic crisis? What if we don't get paid from our customers or clients? What's the knock-on effect? So you've got to protect yourself with these things as well. Now, when it comes to number 11, let's move on to the next one, is around equity. Should you really give equity away from day one? I know lots of entrepreneurs and definitely family businesses that they have 100% ownership of their organizations. Yes, there are the new breed, the modern unicorns of today where maybe 4 or 5 people have come together. Their objective is get the private equity in, do your IPO, exit. Most of them will fizzle away after a number of years. One, if they're really passionate, may stay in that business, be a CEO, or eventually become chairman or sit on the board. They professionalize everything. But most of the time, very few names you will come across globally that have been around for decades, who started the business and are still around today. So there's a lot of people out there who are focused on an exit plan within so many years, and the money that they're raising, everyone's driven towards that end goal. That's fine. With a lot of the family businesses that we deal with, they're in it for lifetime. They're not looking at an exit. So therefore, the equity part is really important. I would suggest if you've got a company already, or a group company, or a family business, and you're looking at a partnership with someone, maybe you could spin off a separate business with them and give them some equity. Now, if you're the one with the idea, you're the one who's investing, you're backing it up with infrastructure, resources, tools, then it's not fair to have an equal partnership. I'm sorry. Why should you have equal equity? That person has to earn it. You may want to give them a little bit from day one, based on putting the business plan together, getting things off the ground. And then I recommend maybe you give them increases of equity based on a vested period of time. It could be over a 5-year period, and in certain phases they end up gathering a little bit more equity. Now that's one option. The other option is some people are not motivated by equity. We think they are, but really deep down inside they're not. What they're interested in is a magic number. Okay, a magic number that they have in their mind, whether it's $1 million or a $5 million exit in the future, a certain amount coming in every year for their family. So if you understand their magic number, maybe you could design an agreement that can allow them to achieve that, but you still hold on to your equity. Because that every 1% could be worth a lot more in the future. And I would say don't just give it away. Maybe focus on bonuses, other share option type plan where you still have majority ownership of your company. Now, I'm not saying that is the only way. There are many examples out there where you can find a different path or a hybrid between some of the things I'm sharing with you, and that's fine. But long as it's win-win, and that's what it comes down to. What I'm talking about here is really, to do with the agreements, which is moving on to the next stage. So you've got the equity part. We're moving on to the next stage, which is talk about the agreements. You've got to put all the what-if things into your agreements. Okay, point number 12. Agreements. Point: crisis, economy, bad delivery of whoever's meant to be delivering, misconduct, ethics, disaligned values, reputation has been affected, something's happened in social media, someone said something absolutely daft on Twitter. We all know these stories. Or a journalist interviewed them and they said something and it's now everywhere and impacted the company. Personal reasons is okay. Maybe the person has evolved in their life. It could be health conditions, their purpose has changed, they want to take time off, travel, do other things in their life. And that's okay. So be clear on all of these things, and finally be very clear on exit. Another thing I would throw in there is conflict. If there's conflict, how will you deal with it? Will it be a situation where both of you will try thrash it out initially and give it X amount of time, a month maybe? If that doesn't work, could you agree on who else you're going to bring in as a trusted contact, a facilitator, a mediator who can help you both? If that doesn't work, can you agree? Then, if things get really, really nasty, okay, but you've agreed up front that this is the process you're going to take, maybe you can think about arbitration and finally going full out from a legal court perspective. So I would say stack up the layers for both parties, not just for one party, that you're trying to do your best to figure it out and find a way of resolving those things over a period of time, rather than someone thinking, right, I'm going to take you to court immediately. And that's not going to help really either party. You're eventually going to devalue your business. It's going to impact your employees, your customers, suppliers, your brand, reputation. So try put it in your agreement, okay? All of these things need to be in a tight agreement. So we've gone through, let me recap really, really quickly. I've got a few of these points on my own screen here. So, things that you could do. Why do you need a partner? Number one. Number two, could you use a freelancer, a consultant, a contractor, rent somebody out for a period of time to do a certain thing? That could be an alternative. Are two minds really better than one? Qualify that. Make sure that your values are aligned. This is absolutely critical, and make sure that you assess this from day one. 6 is be patient. See them in different environments before you decide to say, yep, let's go into partnership. 7, be clear on who's doing what. Define the job roles, define duties, responsibilities, authority levels, reporting structure. 8, be clear on why you're both doing it, what you both want to achieve out of this for the future. Short-term gain, long-term play, lifetime, what is it? Be clear on what's expected of each other and what the rhythm's going to be in terms of communication, accountability, and performance contribution assessment for each party. Number 10, be clear on your splits, whether it's fees, revenue, profits, what's the cost, expenses involved, who's going to take most of the risk, and what are the payment terms, how you're paying people depending on what type of partnership it is. Number 11, don't give away the equity unless you absolutely have to. Otherwise, come up with some other win-win situation. Some people are not just driven by equity. It could be status, significance, learning and growing. It could be a bonus check, other ways that they can be looked after that's going to make them really, really happy. maybe even buying them a house, okay? That could be still less than what the equity could be worth in the future. So there's different ways of doing it, number 11. And then finally, number 12 is most importantly, is make sure that you have a tight agreement, and especially playing the game of what if things go wrong. We're all happy at the beginning, things are wonderful, but when things start to go wrong, and they do eventually, by the way, in every partnership something goes wrong, whether it's an internal factor between the two people or whether it's something external that affects that relationship. So think about crisis situations, economy, bad delivery, misconduct, ethics, value disalignment, reputation, personal reasons, and just a genuine somebody wants an exit, conflict resolution. Also think about confidentiality agreements. If somebody does exit the partnership, what happens in terms of competing with each other? Maybe you need a tight non-compete agreement and confidentiality agreement is placed on people that they can't approach within the organization. So those are 12 things. I hope that's helpful for you to apply if you're already in partnership right now, to maybe go and address some of those things where there could be gaps. Or if you're looking to partner with someone, bear these things in mind and make sure you don't lose $20 million in the process like I have done in the past with various ventures, and make sure you get it absolutely right. So on that basis, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button, leave your comments, hit the like button if you like the video, and definitely come back and watch some of the other episodes on our different show themes on this channel. Bye for now. Thank you.